Hey folks, Michael McGee here. You knew this video was coming because you've been watching me do corn and stagger it with crimson clover for years now. This is my bog disc. I love to hit that first before I plant because it really makes that dirt accessible to the seed. You can see I've left corn standing. This is my seed corn for next year plus feed to grind and mix for my cattle. This here's just a small portion. The big portion is field on that side, which you'll see in a minute. And I've got about 3 other fields besides this one that I'm gonna plant today. Plus I'm gonna go ahead and disc where I had to widen the field to put my water line in. It's red clay, I know, but I'm gonna plant that with crimson clover and we'll get a few more rows of corn in next year. And it'll be interesting to see if the crimson clover is enough to make that red clay produce corn without any fertilizer. We know it's not been planted in years because it was growed up in trees, and I cut them out, dug them up, and we buried our water line through there. So it's time to get started. If you're new to the show and you don't understand, you say, McGee, you're crazy. No fertilizer on your corn. Look here, I'll show you right here. I can reach 8 feet. That corn's 10 feet tall. This field hasn't seen any chemical fertilizer in years. All it gets is crimson clover. I've tried a few other kind of clovers, done a little test here, a little test there. Crimson clover, by far, superior. It's dry as a chip right now. I'll just show you, it is so dry. But I've learned over the years, you gotta work the ground when it's dry because it ain't gonna be dry forever. It's going to rain soon. It's got to. We live in Tennessee here. It never goes more than a few days without rain. Now it's been weeks and actually we've had an extremely dry spell. I know that ain't going to last forever. I got to get that clover seed in the ground. I'm going to mix it with wheat because wheat triggers the clover to produce more nitrogen. I've been showing it to you year after year. The ears, unbelievable ears of corn, unbelievable stalks of corn. We put up silage like it's going out of style. We put up all our silage. It's time to get the clover in. Let's do it. All right, I want to show you what I did in this field. I did not disc it twice, meaning I did not overlap and cover these center rows. So bog discs out only. It's pushing dirt out on both sides. So what I usually do is I overlap, and where I push the dirt out, I push it back. I didn't do that for time's sake, because I don't want us to take all day. And so what that does, it leaves this furrow in the center. And this is my only field that really washes if it really comes an absolute, say 3 or 4 days of downpour, which I expect we'll probably get some point this fall. So what I did, I'll show you right here. You might have saw it in the time lapse. I zigzagged back and forth across this field and I cut them off. So if water is running down through here, when it hits right here, I cut it off, it'll hold that water in the field and it won't run out. Obviously there's a limit to it. If it comes enough of a gully washer, a frog strangler, a toad killer, it'll probably go ahead and wash anyway. There ain't a whole lot you can do about that, but I did what I could to hold what water in the field that falls, because we need it bad. Now it's time to disc the portion of the field that we cut right here. We only cut 3 sections. There was 2 rows in each section. The rest of this hillside we left standing in corn because we have like 10 feet between each section of 2 rows, which allowed, in this dry weather, allowed this corn to grow big ears. So this is going to be what we saved for seed and for picking for feed grinding. So I'm excited about that. We will have, if the squirrels don't eat it up, we will have a dandy corn picking this year. But for now, I need to disc this top side of the field. As soon as I do that, I'm going to go over here past the deer blind and we're going to disc that field as well. It's all coming up right now. You remember where I planted my potatoes this past spring? I had to plant them in a strange way because it was so wet. Well, it's not that wet anymore. You probably saw me try to plant soybeans here. They didn't come up. Some may have come up, but they were nipped off immediately. I've seen deer in here quite a few times when I drive across. I can see through those trees down there when I pull in. But what I have is an exceptionally healthy crop of cuckleburs. And I don't think that's going to help my soil none, and the seeds that they produce is going to make next year even worse. So I'm going to disc them up real hard, chop them up, and we'll put clover in their place. Better. I think we'll be able to get some clover in there. hopefully get a good stand. Let's get some clover out. All right, here we are in the shade, getting ready to pour some clover seed. I got 10 bags of clover right here, 12 bags of wheat. That should be enough to get us by for the whole year. Not just what I need today, but I've got a lot of corn still standing. I'll need this clover later in the year. I have been doing this with great results for years. And it's exciting as it can be. If you still haven't got yourself a solo spreader like this and you spread by hand, you're hurting yourself. This here is the best spreader for the money. And I'm telling you what, it is strong. I have had this thing for several years and I have used it hard, planting all kinds of seed from soybeans to clover. Never gives out on me. But I'm gonna get out here and spread this right quick so that we can get the wheat on it as well and pack it. Spread this wheat. People ask me every time, how much of this clover are you putting out per acre? And I really don't know. I mean, I stepped this off and calculated the measurements and it figures to be 1.7 something acres. So less than 2 acres and I put 3 bags, that's 150 pounds. So you could calculate that, a little more than 75 pounds per acre. Clover guys will say, well, that's way too much. No, I'm not planting clover. I'm growing corn. This is the whole purpose. This is fertilized. This ain't growing clover. And when I grow the corn, it's not growing corn. I'm growing beef. And when I grow the beef, I'm not growing beef. I'm growing boys. It's all about family. Let's hit it. be wondering, why Mr. McGee is he packing that with a roller? It's so nice and loose. Here's the reason. This time of year is completely different from the spring. This time of year, it is literally powder keg dry. It's unbelievable. So if we get a ½ inch of rain, and we're supposed to get some rain here in the next few days, a little bit of hurricane rain left over from sweet old Francine. Well, if we get a ½ inch, it'll just go right past that seed and get on down in because the ground is so loose. So if he packs it, that will increase the potency of that rain for that top inch where we need it. And also it will help sort of cover the seed. It'll sort of shuffle around the seed a little bit, and a third or a half of it may be buried under a little dust, which will help as well. Seed soil contact is a pretty widely known phrase, and this also helps mash the seed down to give you more seed soil contact, which is what is very important for germination. So that's the whole point, is he packs it so we get better germination. Folks, there you have it. He's finishing up the last little patch we got here. We've got a lot of corn to pick once it dries, but for now, we're done. I don't know if you know the feeling that you get when you got your wood shed full, your pantry's full, your freezer's full, your hay shed is full, but this right here is a good feeling to know. The corn has been chopped, the silage has been packed, the seed has been sown. We could sit back and relax. Of course, we've got plenty to do besides this, but at least on this front, we can sit back and relax. If you have any questions, drop down in the comments and I'll try to answer them best I can. But that's all we've got for you today. We'll help you have a great day. We'll see you on the next video.